I'm going to be talking about two incidents, one involving J.K. Rowling and the other one involving a previously unknown man who is an Iranian and was counter-protesting at a Hamas parade one recent Saturday in London. Now, although those two incidents appear to be worlds apart, the reaction of the police in both cases is almost identical. That is, they appear to have broken the law and then tried to cover up in about the same way. And that started me thinking that perhaps the police had a collective mental disease. I'm going to be talking about that after I tell you. I'm Graniopteryx. You see, psychiatrists, psychologists, different people have written papers and books on hysteria that has suffused societies at various times. There was one that I know of, to my knowledge, it's the first of that type, called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds, which was quoted by Douglas Murray when he wrote his book. And it was by a fellow called Charles Mackay. And he talked about all sorts of weird things that happened to people. The dancing sickness that turned up in Europe in the, I think the 13th century, where whole villages of people kept on dancing, and some of them died of exhaustion, that sort of thing. So these things happen. But they've talked of it as a hysteria that's just gripped people. I'm starting to think that certain groups are showing psychiatric disorders, just like people show psychiatric disorders. So groups of people develop a psychiatric disorder that looks very much like a single person mental illness. And it seems to me that the police have developed a psychiatric disorder which is informing everything they do. For instance, arresting Tommy Robinson while he's having breakfast. Now, I know you might say, well, the organisers of the pro-Israel rally didn't want Tommy Robinson about, but whether they wanted him about or not is neither here nor there. The question is whether it was legal for him to be there. And as a journalist, he had every right to be where he was. OK, that's one example. But here we have an example of this. It says here, the police refused to intervene when activists celebrated the Houthi attacks. And what happened was this chap here, who now has gone quiet, I believe there must be some sort of an injunction against him saying anything. He was holding up a placard. This was the placard. Hamas is terrorist. Now, as a matter of fact, Hamas has been classified as a terrorist organisation since 2021. So absolutely everything on that placard there, or that piece of paper, is legal. But the people who were there in support of Hamas weren't that impressed by that, and they started an altercation. And the police arrested this fellow. So here he is making his statement here. Now we'll fast forward to here. Come on. So they started to mob him. Palestine, free, Palestine, free, Now here you see this fellow attacks him. And he's perfectly clear who he is. We have a very good picture of him, don't we? And then the police mob him, and they throw him to the floor and they arrest him. Lots of very brave men there. Did you see? There's so many of them. There are all those guys there. They're not interfering with them. But this one fellow, yeah, they're having... Now, I want you to pay particular attention to this chap here. Let's just go back a little bit. He's got... That is the poster that this... now, what was his name? Gurbani, of course. Right. So they pull him to the floor and they get that poster. Now, I want you to watch what this policeman does. Right, he's got the poster. Look how he's crumpling it up. And this is the important thing here. They're not only arresting him for carrying a legal poster, but this man here is so angry with the fellow they've just arrested. He's taken his property and he's minimizing it. He's turning it into something unreadable. He's destroying it. Look, and you see how he's checking on the people who are actually doing the demonstration. He's looking at them, but he's crumpling that poster. You see, he could have just taken it, folded it, maybe if he thought it was evidence, but he wasn't doing that. He was getting at it. And then, of course, the crowd, they're all cheering at the arrest of this terrible person who was holding up a legal poster. Now, here's their statement. A video has been posted on X alleging officers arrested a man for having an anti-Hamas placard. This isn't accurate. Well, I'll let you make up your minds about that. He was arrested after an altercation was ongoing and officers intervened to prevent a breach of the peace. Well, from what I saw, somebody tried to beat him up, pushed him, he went out of the crowd, and that's when the police got at him. It didn't look like they'd had any attempt to actually intervene within that demonstration. But, yeah, you saw the video, you tell me. He was arrested after an altercation was ongoing and officers intervened to prevent a breach of the peace. He was arrested for assault. He was standing there holding up a placard, both hands holding up the placard. There was no way he could assault anyone unless somebody started pushing at him, shoving at him, or attacking him first. Officers then fully reviewed footage provided of the incident and he was later de-arrested. The arrest was not made in relation to the placard. How well do you believe that? According to this article here, which I found in the Jerusalem Post, Jonathan Turner, Executive Director for UK Lawyer for Israel, reviewed footage of the arrest and confirmed to the Post that the police may have broken the law during the arrest and prevented those who assaulted Gurbani from being identified. It appears from the footage that the police brutally arrested the wrong person, Turner said. Nayak Gurbani was entitled to use reasonable force to prevent a person who was attempting to steal his poster, which said Hamas is terrorist. In arresting Mr. Gurbani, the police appear to have committed criminal offences of assault and false imprisonment. In addition, it appears that a policeman took and screwed up his poster, as well as theft of his property and criminal damage. This was also destruction of evidence that might have had fingerprints identifying the real offender. And yeah, it does look like that, doesn't it? But I'm not so sure the policeman was trying to destroy the evidence as trying to destroy Urbani's whole existence at this particular parade. And why I'm saying that it appears to be a mental illness is as follows. Northumbria police apparently recorded J.K. Rowling's comment or assertion that India Willoughby, who is a trans woman, that trans woman is actually a man, and they recorded it as a hate incident. And again, legal authorities are saying that the police broke the rules to do that. Police broke freedom of speech rules by recording a misgendering complaint against J.K. Rowling as a hate incident. So again, we've got this whole thing where the police are determined to find crimes, and they are actually breaking rules to concoct crimes. It seems to me that this is the sort of behaviour that you get in somebody with some sort of paranoid disease. And I'm starting to wonder if the police shouldn't be treated as having a psychiatric problem. Well, that's just a thought. I mean, I don't want this video to go on for too long, so I can't really go into the ins and outs of psychiatric problems and the police. But I think we should start thinking of what the police are doing as a psychiatric problem, rather than just simply a lot of police taking the law into their own hands, going off the rails, or however you'd like to put it, with their constant persecution of people for crimes that don't exist. That's worth a study if there's anybody watching this who knows something about psychiatry. Okay, till next time. I'm constantly being told that YouTube removes subscriptions without the subscriber realising it, so please click the notification bell and check that you really are still subscribed. All the links to my other channels are in the description, including links to donation sites. I'm always grateful for donations, but simply clicking like is the best thing you can do for this video and my channel generally. Thank you. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm, or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com, and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.